Well, it's a week later. We're back on the fixing up the TEA. So it's a TEA20 Ferguson. We're going to do an oil change on it because there's water in the oil. Well, there was. Yeah, you can see it there. You can see that water sludge. So we're going to dump the oil and do that. We checked the rad. I filled it up last week. It didn't seem to go down at all. So I'm pretty confident that that there's nothing wrong there as far as any water leaking in there. This is the standard motor out of England. It's a little bit different than the Continentals that we see on the stuff. Did a quick preliminary inspection on the steering gear. This side seems to be pretty good, other than that rod being bent. I'm going to put that in the press, straighten that back out. Rad seems to be all there. It was at a rad shop 20 years ago maybe, so it's not original. Yeah, big play in that one there. Yeah, you can see it right there. This one, monster play. It's completely worn out, ready to fall off. The exhaust system we're going to do, we can't run it right now because Jake's sleeping. And Sean's going to pop the oil, dump the oil out of it, and get the filter. I got to get some battery cables. The muffler's completely rotted, so I think what we'll do is we'll take the muffler off the other tractor, off the 35, use it on this, put the brand new exhaust, which we already have in stock, on the 35. So we got that going. We still haven't touched the, so there's the 35 there. Pretty similar for the exhaust system. So we'll just dump that off. The pipe's messed up on this. I'll check the exhaust, see if there's any. We'll patch it. We're just going to get that little Ferguson up and going. And this is funny, eh? We had this out to bust up the garden and try to get that established. So we're having a little bit of trouble. So we're going to work on that. Lots of things in the fire again. Lots of irons in the fire to work on. So that's what we're going to use for flushing oil. It was cheap, on sale. And then I got new Wix filters for it. I got a whole mess of batteries here we're working with, trying to get a battery going that's decent. So we got this one here. It's coming up on voltage. This one we're not sure about. I'll stop by at the house, pick up the battery tester, and then we'll run a test on that and see where we are as far as battery wise go. That's the one that came with it, with the Ferguson, the little Fergie. I got to run a test on that, so I'm going to run down and get some battery cables, and then we'll be back. We'll be back to try it again. So you guys wait for me here. Oh yeah, there she is, shite missile. You guys wait for me here, and I'm going to go get some battery cables. All right, we're into the oil change, and here's our first problem. Can I have that bolt? What seals the bottom? Rubber plug in that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Seal insert.
So this is what we have. Now that, in order for the oil filter to work, the inside of the oil filter has to be separated from the outside, and this is not separated. So we don't have the right part. So what I'm going to do is take a fender washer, drill it out. This is 3/8. Drill it out to 3/8. And you can see that somebody's been a little crazy with a wrench. If I can get it to focus. There. There's slight deformation of the threads. So Sean's working on that. And I'm going to make the new washer. So hopefully that'll work. So there's the first problem with little Fergie. Improper parts inside. This obviously painted red came somewhere off of a piece of farm equipment or something. Who knows? Anyway. Great mechanics. Alright, here's the fix. Inside that filter housing there was a washer that I'm assuming was a stamped piece. I've seen them before in hydraulic applications. That would have a rubber ring around it and it would seal against the bolt. I don't have that right now. So what I did was went to my local hardware store. I got fender washers and epoxy putty And I mixed up some epoxy putty and I pressed this to keep it centered and keep it good. I'm not really worried about the oil, but this is what we have to do to try to get that to filter. This part will go inside the filter and that will self-guide to make sure we stay on center within the cartridge. So I think we're good to go there. So we're going to let this cure for a bit. I'll put it out on the sunshine, get her to heat up, and that'll be good. So there it is, and that's the part that we manufactured. Normally I would have done this in TIG welding or brazing. Brazing is nice because you don't get the deformation and it flows out really good. I've made similar things before, but I don't have any brazing rod and we're not set up for TIG yet. We got everything but argon. So anyway, there you go. All right, boys and girls, this is the battery that came out of the Fergie. This is it here. Incredible numbers. Anyway, we're gonna see. I wanted you guys to see it first because I've never ran the tester on it, only because I didn't have the tester. This battery here was in the Ferguson TO35, and it's fine. It tests okay. So I wanted you guys to see this one. So there we are. Enter. Inside a vehicle. And it's regular flooded acid, 750 cca. So enter. Here's the test. Good battery, 98%. Whew! There you go. So I think what I'm going to do is put this battery in the Ferguson. Or sorry, yes, the Ferguson TO35. This battery will go in the Ferguson TEA20. I'm going to run a desulfation on this. It marks out at 85%. This one's at 98%. So that's what we'll do. We'll end up swapping batteries on that. And I bought some new battery cables. I don't know where to put them just yet. And that's what we're going to do. And then that'll make two good starting tractors, hopefully. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, so I thought while we were here, I don't know if you guys remember the few videos back when we were up on the mountain there, the frozen steering box that was full of water. So we're switching out the battery, so I thought, well, here's the opportunity now to suck this out and replace the oil. We could, wasn't sure if we got it all out when it was frozen or if we got most of it out, so I'm just gonna change this to put 80-90 gear oil in here and get rid of, make sure there's no water content left, because there was enough water to displace the oil to cause the steering box to freeze up and not turn left. So if you remember that video, you'll know that was the problem, was water. So this is what I'm using, my Amazon suction syringe. I bought little cheap ones. They didn't work. The oil attacked them. This one's worked good so far. We pulled gasoline out with this, and now I'm doing heavyweight gear oil. So that's something for you guys to think about. See what you can knock off the list while you're doing something else. Hit a couple of other things. So I made new battery cables for this, but unfortunately I use welding cable, and the EPDM case on them is starting to rot. So I bought these at my local, the store that sells them here is called Gilles Bass, and I bought them from there. And I'm going with molded ends because I don't like those bolt-on ends. These things are okay for short term, but they just corrode. Like this is corroding already, and they're a pain. So I like this die-casted end, and that gives you the best opportunity. This end's not so great, but this end's fantastic. So I don't know. That's what I decided anyway. Take it or leave it. Rather than making custom battery cables, these are cheap and way easier to go. I average less than 15 bucks a piece for these, so that's a bonus. And they range from 30 inches down to 14, I think. So we're gonna go with that. So I got the first battery cable on. All the connections were good from the winter that I did all this. Working on the air filter at the same time. Got that all washed out. We washed out the basin for it, the reservoir for the oil. It's oil bath. by the way, and we washed out the sponge. We just used diesel fuel to rinse out, not sponge, sorry, the steel wool that's inside. So the idea is to kill a bunch of birds with one stone. I got the tire aired up on this one. I gotta see if I can get anything done on this while we got it apart. If the steering box setup's the same. It appears not to be. So Ferguson did do some changes on this. Yeah. So appears to be a lot of changes on this. I don't know where the oil goes into this box. Oh, yeah, right there. Okay. So I found the oil. I'll clean this one out. We don't have to worry about the battery being in the way. I want to get this steering rod off. It's all split. I'm not sure if we can fix that in the vise or not, but we'll give it a try. Oil filter's back together again. We got her filled up with clean oil. We're going to try that. I got to order a lower hose for the radiator. So I'm just kind of making a mental list as we go along. What's going to be required to get this baby up and running again. I do have the proper coil setup coming. This is what they were using for a ignition ballast resistor. So I got that coming. And we're gonna see what's going on. These wires look pretty good. Boots are all different though, but I don't know what brand this is. Edge. Belden Edge. Yeah, it's metallic core, so it's good stuff. I mean, for tractor use. We're gonna do a test on the other one because somebody said you can't use suppression wires on a tractor, and I think I'm gonna dispel that myth once and for all. What do we have here? That right there could be an interlock safety switch, and I'm going to figure out what that is. There's appear to be half of it broken, and if that's a safety switch, which it very well might be because the shifter's marked S, and I'm assuming that's S for start, I'll restore that function. We drilled out the ignition because the new one's on the way, and then we'll see how that works. I'll put the smaller battery in here just because it'll fit, and then obviously some new battery cables. So we'll throw those on and get that going. Got really good oil pressure, and I want to keep it that way. So that's why we're doing all the stuff on this one. The gear oil, it's missing its headlights. The gear oil appears to be very good. Once we get this thing running, we're going to do a full evaluation on it. Slight amount of water, a little bit of water in there, not much. So there's that. Look at that piece there. I was doing a grease job on it. I blew up the grease pump. I just aired up this tire, and I think for cutting grass these tires are going to work for a while. 12.428 on here. And this 3-point stays up forever. I've never seen anything like it. Still hasn't gone down. So I'll pull the top link, take it apart, lubricate it. I got to knock this out yet. So it's Ferguson day. I got to knock this piece off here. That's the adapter. That got sheared or ripped off, so I'm going to cut that off. Yeah, we're just going to keep on going because that's what I do. Keep on going. So let me get back to the electrical on this because that was a bit of a nightmare. The alternator squeals real bad because the belt's just too loose, right? I gotta figure out what's going on here. If I can get this a little bit tighter, that would be the goal. I think I have a plan here to make this tighter. I'm gonna try to space this out a little bit with washers because we're out of stroke on that there, on the adjuster. And oh my god, are you serious? 105 amp alternator. Well, we know we'll have lots of power to run all the lights we want. Mega Rebuilders, that's a local company. That's who did the job there on this alternator. It's still a multiple wire setup. So we'll look at that. A little bit of corrosion there. Lots of corrosion here. Broken charge wire there, so we'll fix that. I gotta put a fuel line in there, a fuel filter. So it's lots of things to do today. We're gonna keep on going because that's what we do. So we're working on the Massey, putting the exhaust on. I got the nuts off. Yeah, took a little bit of heat, but there's the nuts. 1, 2, 3. So we're doing back and forth Maxi. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this exhaust off and we're gonna reuse it on the other Massey because this pipe's all rotted out. It's got a hole right through her down there. She's collapsed there. The flange is meh, not too bad. But that being said, we're gonna use the muffler because it appears to be very good on the other tractor. We out? Okay, so now you gotta roll it out of the way, pull it out, take that away. See, that's all it's got is one dent in it. Is that broken right there?
Here at the tube?
Yeah, can we send that to the weld shop downtown and get that welded?
Yeah.
A little bit of MIG. We're gonna reuse that muffler.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, let's get the other muffler in.
That sounds like a whole new tractor.
That sounds like a whole new tractor. That's much better. That's the best $150 exhaust system I ever bought. Nice. Had to use the nuts over again, but because they're 7/16, so we're gonna have to get some 7/16 nuts. Change them out. We lost the gasket somewhere in the house, so we used the old one. It's not leaking, so there is a bonus.
Water and you went to this there.
All right, so we got to put the air intake back on, and we're done. I got it. You got to do what you got to do. And this is what we got to do. So when you're heating stuff up to try to rescue it, you got to play the flame over it softly. You don't want to bubble fry it. Here, Sean. Woo! Okay, give it some wire brush. Okay, I'm going to warm this guy up right here. Nope. Get her all the way around.
Threads are pretty damaged, don't they?
It may not be rescuable. But we know if we go to Canadian Tire, they won't have it in stock, and that's almost an hour round trip. Well, it will be an hour round trip. Okay. Pump it back and forth, knock the rust off as you go. If you try to go all the way backwards, it'll just bind up because you'll fill up the thread gap with rust. And then it'll break off anyway, so all your work will be for nothing. That's the whole trick, is pump it back and forth. Look at that. Now that clamp, a little bit of heat on that one. Save $5 in an hour's trip plus the gasoline. That's the way it is. Life on the North Shore. And really, there's nothing really wrong with the clamp. Look at that. Just like magic. I think that's, oh, look at that. Okay. Barry Bus, can you get this piece of pipe out? Yeah, kind of warm up around the outside. So anyway, we got it running pretty decent. Carburetor's not the very best. It's charging, but the belt's shot, so it squeals, slips, makes an ignorant amount of noise. The exhaust is a mess. I mean, you can't even hear yourself think, so we threw the muffler off the other one on there. There's what's hanging there. We're gonna cut that off tomorrow. And I'm gonna try to make one exhaust out of a couple, I guess. I'm gonna cut that off, drop it, we'll butt weld it, see if we can get it to go underneath. And just making it out of junk for now. That belt's got to go. We're having a little bit of trouble with the carburetor. Not bad. I got it to idle. I can adjust the mixture on idle. So we just kept playing with it. The linkage isn't the greatest on the governor, so I got to look at that. What else we got? Didn't do much else. I got to try to get that PTO adapter off. Got the left front tire pumped it up. I don't know if it's going to hold air or not. Hard to tell. Forgot the battery on charge, so I got some parts coming tomorrow maybe from Scamazon. And we'll see. So we're going to call it a day for now. Runs, drives. We drove it over here. And yeah, I guess that's it for today. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, ring the bell, check back often. And we'll give you some more content on the Ferguson TEA20. And we did a whole bunch of work on that big guy right there, the 35. So did a lot of work today. The 35 got a new exhaust system, new battery cables, and it's starting to behave much better now. So that's where we are on that. I got to fix the fuel delivery's got a little bit of an issue, and we'll get that fixed. And it's going to get a new starter solenoid tomorrow, hopefully, and we'll keep going. She ran very good. We ripped out some tree roots with it, although not very effective, using a 3-point plow or 3-bottom plow to pull roots, but I guess it did the job. And tomorrow we'll blade this all back in and see if I can't get the rest of the roots out. These are tough to get out. I don't have a subsoiler. I wish I did. It would be a lot better, but we'll work on that. So that's it for today. Thanks for tuning in. And yeah, gotta love those Massey Fergusons, or Fergusons.